Hello and welcome to the special episode of Porta.Fi audio reviews. As you can see, I decided to appear on video for the first time, and in the end I will explain why I decided to do so, and meanwhile let's go back to the portable audio. Some of you already celebrated main winter holiday, others will celebrate it on the 7th of January. And a lot of people, actually I think vast majority of people won't celebrate Christmas at all. So I decided to bind that special episode to the 31st of December, and if everything will go well, this video will appear at the New Year's Eve, or considering time zones, maybe some of you will already meet the New Year. Anyway, this year I decided not to do the typical best of the year video. I know that probably some of you expected that, but 2021 was a hard year. Many companies had to change their plans, shifted releases, but other companies actually succeeded and created a lot of interesting and great models, and actually I think that every single model I reviewed this year is worth mentioning here, because I reviewed lots and lots of great stuff. But it happens this year that I've got a really big queue of interesting gadgets and devices that will be waiting for their reviews in 2022, and I decided instead of doing a typical ranking list, I decided to create a teaser trailer and show you what I'm going to review early next year. And actually I think many of that devices are worth getting into that top of 2021 list, but they didn't make it because I was not fast enough. I had to spend some time to relocate to another country, and actually it was exciting here, but let's not talk about me and let's talk about the gadgets. Fio's K9 Pro actually was not announced but was teased quite a long time ago, and it took a lot of time for Fiio to mature and to solidify this design. But it was definitely worth the wait, because Fiio managed to put really lot of stuff into pretty small case. You can see that it's not big, and that's including the internal power supply. So it's a digital to analog converter built with XMOS and 4499 by AK digital to analog converter, and kind of spoiler, Fiio already planning to release a Saber version of it because they ran out of chips, but actually it's still available from some sellers, as I've seen, and the price is really tempting. It's just $700, and it's powerful. It delivers up to 2 watts for 32 ohms load, both from single-ended and balanced output. And actually it's a really feature-packed device with a lot of inputs and lot of outputs, so you can see that on the backs. Let's turn it this way. On the back side there are a lot of inputs, so Bluetooth, it supports all codecs, it has application to control it, USB optical coaxial, line in and line out, and even balanced line out, so you can use it as amplifier, as pure digital to analog converter, and all the stuff. And on the front panel, LED indicators showing the signal, and different toggles and switches. Actually won't go deep into the details, this will be present in the video. And it has extra USB in on the side, and it's a really neat detail if you're going to use it with a smartphone or with some other player. And kind of spoiler, Fio's M17 stand fitting nicely on top of it. So really good, interesting, feature-packed digital to analog converter and amplifier combo with a lot of functionality. And another pinnacle of Fiio engineers, it's M17. For me it's basically the best player of the year. I didn't test IBASO DX300 Max unfortunately, so I can't compare with that, but in terms of sound, it's surpassing all that I've heard this year. And of course, it's big, it's huge, it's barely pocketable. Probably it can't be called a typical pocket player at all, but actually out of all that big brick-like players, this one definitely the best in terms of design. Or actually it's the only one with design, because it has style, that hexagonal buttons, typical for the Fiio, that interesting vent holes on the side with LEDs inside, nice volume knob, tons of inputs and outputs, so you can see that all inputs and outputs you can imagine are present here, including coaxial input and output. And what is the most surprising here, that it has a separate working mode. You can connect it to the external 12 volt source, and you can use the special ultra powerful mode. Of course it will start heating like hell, but you can get for it, actually not you not can, you getting a stand with fan for it for cooling. Of course it looks a bit like too much, but from other hand you're getting the player that can drive virtually all headphones, with just few exceptions that are super tough to drive. And it shows great control, it shows really good sound, it's natural, really resolving, really technical, with great dynamics, and so on and so forth. It's also convenient in terms of firmware. It has a lot of signature features by Fiio. Of course, it supports all Bluetooth, wireless, and codecs, runs on the Snapdragon 660 chipset. So basically you can see that it's yet another device built with principle, let's put everything inside and let's deliver that device to the enthusiasts of portable audio. And that's the player that created with this idea in mind, and it succeeds in this aspect. Also, two high-end cables for earphones waiting for the new year. First one is Kinera Gleipnir, the model that they use for their top-of-the-line earphones, but also it's available separately. Nice, beautiful, well-braided, pretty soft cable with great design. You can see features the signature replaceable jack system, and made of gold-plated wires, and overall really interesting model. And second one is also as interesting and as Kinera's. It's DD HiFi Nix cable that gathered a lot of attention recently. It uses hybrid schema with pure silver cables as a core, and additional silver-plated cables for the shielding and additional isolation, made of really great materials, pretty thick, but at the same time also pretty soft, comfortable, with nice connectors, with the signature angle jacks designed and developed for this cable. So as you can see, both are great in terms of materials and design, but also they are great in terms of impact on the sound. So wait for them, they are really worth your attention. This year we've seen a true renaissance of interest to R2R technologies, and non-surprisingly Cayin was among the main locomotives of this movement, because that's the company that is always trying to experiment, always trying to create something new. They were the early adopters of Korg new tubes in their players, and even in high-end segment and in the more affordable. And of course, not surprisingly, that they followed that R2R trend. They created a pretty interesting R2R model for the Cayin N6 Mark II. Actually, I haven't tested yet. I will try to get it, but not sure. But really surprisingly, they've announced Cayin R6, pretty affordable dongle dock built with their signature R2R technology. And actually it delivers the sound that you can expect from that type of digital to analog conversion, and they've also added nice amplification here. They added few modes of operation, they even put a small screen, and actually they created interesting premium portable digital to analog converter that has interesting sound, and that will find a lot of fans for that. And at the same time they decided to go a pretty well, not super affordable pricing, but at least they kept the price pretty reasonable, because many other companies will charge more for that, definitely. Non-surprisingly, i5 was one of the main trendsetters in the portable digital to analog converters world. They released a pretty good Bluetooth receiver, they updated the hip deck, but of course one of the most awaited releases was the new xDSD, codenamed Gryphon. And I can already say that it was definitely worth waiting. In a pretty compact device with a stylish signature design, you getting tons of features, tons of power, and actually for pretty reasonable price. I can't call it super affordable, but price tier is set very reasonably. You can see that it has that typical design for the xDSD series, tons of inputs on the back side, separate charger, USB, also outputs, line in, and many things, and on the front side 2 outputs and sound enhancers and many stuff. Main control element of course is traditional knob, but actually maybe not for the first time, but one of the first times they've used the screen with additional indication of inputs, volume and stuff. Of course in real life it's not blinking, it's just roller shutter effect here, but still a great addition for the portable digital to analog converters. And also they have integrated one of the best their creations, iMesh, that will allow you using sensitive earphones without much problems. You can see compact, stylish, powerful with Bluetooth support, lot of inputs and outputs. It can be used as a desktop device of course, but main usage of course is on the go, and it's really good in this aspect. Yet another model that was really interesting personally for me was Bose QuietComfort 45. I already reviewed their true wireless model, and I was pretty surprised by their performance and overall comfort and noise cancelling. And before getting acquainted with QuietComfort 45, I've seen a lot of critics in the audiophile community for Bose full-size headphones, and I wanted to try them myself, and luckily I managed to do that. And you know, I understand both sides. I understand why some people don't like them really much, because in terms of audiophile perspective, of course they're not trying to be super natural, super technical and so on. But I also understand those who really love this model, and actually it's a model that is a perfect companion for daily commute, because they are really lightweight, they are comfortable, they are easy foldable, and you can carry them virtually everywhere with you. They have good microphones, they have normal sound quality, actually not super, but really normal. And of course they offer state-of-the-art noise cancelling, both for external noise and actually for the microphones. So if you need some model for work, if you're working in noisy office and your colleagues irritates you, or if you have to work in your home office while your kids trying to hammer dog's tail to floor, or when you have to work in some noisy hipster cafe. Actually, not sure if it will happen soon, but hopefully in 2022 we'll get that. This model is your savior, because noise cancelling here passive is pretty normal, but when you turn on active noise cancelling, it's definitely best result you can achieve. And as I've already said, they are comfortable and actually they are long lasting, so in many aspects this model stands out from the crowd. Speaking about technology marvels and great achievements, of course I need to mention HiBy R6, because from the first sight it seems to be a great compact Android player that unifies modern world of Android with streaming, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth and so on in a pretty compact case. Actually I really like this color. And it unifies that with pretty old technology R2R. But actually it's definitely more than that, and HiBy shows here what makes them stand aside from the other competitors. It's their skill in the software area, because it's that Darwin architecture. It's not only R2R matrix but also the software created by HiBy, and connected with that they can control upsampling, they can control digital filters, and actually that gives them huge power in terms of digital processing and altering the signal in a non-destructive, non-obtrusing way. They already showed that they are really skillful in that with Meze plugin that they've incorporated in many their creations, but here they are making an even further step ahead with that Darwin architecture, and they already created a lot of presets for many popular earphones that adapt this player hardware. Actually, basically it adapts the way the digital tonal conversion here works to the particular earphones. I have one IEMs from their list. I have Unique Melody Mast Mark II, and hopefully they will add more models to that list. And you know, that adaptation really changed things in a noticeable way. And besides that, it's a pretty interesting player with a relatively reasonable price, so, and with tons of great features that I will cover in the upcoming review, so stay tuned. This player also really worth wait. One of the most awaited in-ear monitors for me was BQEYZ or BQEYZ Autumn. When they announced summer, I started waiting for autumn. Now I'm waiting for winter, but I can say that autumn were worth waiting for. And you already know probably that I really like everything about BQEYZ or BQEYZ, except of course their name, because it's hard to pronounce it. But at the same time, they always trying to create something new and unusual. I'm a huge fan of the Spring 2 tuning. I like them, subjectively I really like them. Summer is a bit not my cup of tea, but still pretty good model. But for autumn they created one interesting idea. It looks simple at the first sight, but the more I used it, the more I understand that it's really well thought feature, and basically it's just dynamic driver earphones, but they offer really unusual system of tuning filters. Here they are, here where they are located. And you've seen many of type of different filters, starting from simple toggles and switches and ending some complex setups like NU used, for example, or even more complicated system by FLC. But BQEYZ came out with a great idea of using magnets. So you're getting the spatial tool in the accessory set, and to remove the filter you just touch it with this stick, then you put it back, then you getting next filter with using the magnet, and all you need to do is just put it in place, and that's it. Really simple, really comfortable, and really fast. Actually, it's even faster to do in the real life, because now I'm looking through camera, and that complicates this precise work a little bit, but in general it's a really interesting and convenient way that simplifies trying different filters changing them and finding the sound that you like. And short spoiler, it's a really well-tuned model that offers a really interesting sound. Yet another model worth mentioning here, because it really likely will be pretty interesting, it's HiFi P1 Plus. First P1 were really interesting because that was first affordable planar magnetic in-ear monitors. They were not like universal in terms of tuning. Not everyone liked their hyper detailed and pretty bright signature, and HiFi actually took that feedback into the account. To be honest, I didn't test them yet. They require burn-in, they require testing with different sources, but based on other reviews and charts, actually they did what I'd like to see for them. They made the bass slightly bigger and they made the treble more linear, and actually that should make them more natural. And taking into account that they still have a relatively affordable price, I'm pretty sure that this model will be really interesting and worth for those who are looking for affordable planar magnetic in-ear monitors. And still they have a nice build quality, compact size, and all that exterior stuff is done on a really good level. And of course, this model of headphones will be one of the first in the upcoming series of the reviews. It's closed back headphones made by Meze in cooperation with Rinaro, and you already know the name, it's Liric. It's a pretty expensive model, price, if I remember right, is set about $2,000, but of course it's like the continuation of the hyper popular models Empyrean and Elite. Hopefully I will get Elite in the next year. I'm working on that. I want to buy them because I really like Empyrean. I use them often, and I'm definitely interested in upgrading them to the Elite version. But Liric is a great offer for those who want closed back model. Of course, it comes with a few shortcomings, like in terms of stage, for example, but Meze and Rinaro did a great job in retuning their signature planar magnetic drivers for the closed back cups. And also what is really surprising here is how lightweight and comfortable they are. Interesting combination of materials, looks really premium. They changed the design of headband a little bit, they changed the suspension model here, they also retuned the cups a little bit and replaced that signature grille to the new leather covered plates. They are lightweight, they are comfortable in wearing, they offers natural, rich, balanced sound, so it looks like a huge win in this segment, and definitely it's a great option, especially for those who like the Meze Empyrean and Elite sound and want something like that in a closed back design. Actually, the only question for me is why they replaced the mini XLR connectors to the regular TRS connectors, but probably they have some reason to do that, maybe to highlight that this is the model created more for the portable usage. So, as you can see, a lot of interesting gear and a lot of interesting devices waiting for us in the upcoming 2022. And of course, our favorite companies won't be relaxing. They will show many new exciting releases, so I'm waiting with anxiety for the upcoming new year and upcoming new stuff. But the biggest and the most exciting event for me was the growth of my channel during this year, and that's why I decided to show here in personal and to say a huge thanks to everyone who is watching me, who commenting, liking, disliking, subscribing, who agree with me, who are not agree. So thank you everyone for being with me. I wish you a great year, lot of prosperity, health, security, lot of good happy events, and of course lot of interesting music, because music is the main thing why we are here. Have a great year, everyone.